You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie. Hey, it's Natalie Lawson, and I'm back today with you guys for a pretty fun topic called Lessons Learned from a Filmmaker, okay? So I recently, a lot of you, I know I was like shouting it from the rooftops because I was super proud of my husband, who we have worked for the past 5 years. We have prayed, we have just sacrificed, we have done all the things to really pursue this God-sized dream. And it was a dream of Skylar's. And I was so blessed to be in a network marketing business and have grown a business that could allow him to quit his job and start on pursuing this dream and this vision that God has placed in his heart out of nowhere. You guys, like, long story short, he had no background in filmmaking, and this is where God was like, here's what you're doing. And it was amazing. I can always talk to you about it if you want more details later. Someday we're going to actually, with that said, I'm just going off the cuff here. Would you like to have and hear an interview with Skylar and I? If you think having an interview between Skylar and I and hearing from him personally, then drop that below. Say yes. Drop yes if you want to hear from Skylar, maybe hear from him personally and get some of these nuggets for you personally, because what I'm sharing with you are things that I have been inspired by being with and around my husband while he is working and living with him and seeing what he's done over these last 5 years, and also being around the tribe of people that he has around him and that God has placed in our lives. And it's really caused me to kind of reflect and think about how that works and relates so well to us as entrepreneurs and business owners and people in the network marketing industry. I mean, there's so many similarities and things that we go through. And so these are some lessons that I have learned. I've kind of picked the top 4, okay? The top 4. And so I hope that I articulate these well and that you would take some lessons learned away as well and be inspired to take action and move forward in pursuing the God-sized dreams that have been placed on your heart. So with that said, the first thing that I want to share with you that has been an inspiration for me and that I have learned is that you have to be 100% and 110% unapologetic and completely authentic and confident in who you are. And why I say that is because there is going to be so many people, there's so much noise out there, and there's so many people who say that you have to do this and be this and speak like this and all the things, right? And so if you are not grounded in who you are and you do not know your identity and what your voice is and your message, you're going to be clouded, and your judgment's going to be clouded by all the noise and all the people out there trying to tell you what you should do and how you should do it. And so one of those things that Skylar does really well is he is 100% authentic to him. He is super confident in himself. Confidence is queen, you all, for all you women out there, because he has been on calls. They call him pitch, he does these pitches. And he has been on several calls where they have questioned him, where they have tried to intimidate him and all the things, right? But he has always stood his ground and stood firm in who he was and what he believed in and what his mission and vision was. And when he was starting out, he went to different events and things around in LA and was networking with people. And he stood out. He would come home and be like, oh, I met this person, they said this, and that, because he was standing out, because people were like, whoa, who's this Hoosier boy coming here? And he's doing his thing. He's making movies, he's doing film, what? He's shooting on film. And so he was willing to do things that were different and bold. Almost no one out there, if you guys didn't know, almost everyone shoots digitally now. And Skylar is one of the only people. There's Christopher Nolan, Quentin Tarantino, Paul Thomas Anderson. There might be a few others that shoot on film, like literal projector film. There's a lot of challenges and expenses that come with that, but that is something that he wanted to do, that he's passionate about, that he's bold about. And so that stands out. And also just his confidence and how he portrays himself. And he's not going to let other people intimidate him because he is grounded in who he is as a son of God. And so that's what you want to be. You want to be unapologetic for who you are and what you're about. There's people who he made his movie. Some of you maybe have seen it, and we thank you so much for your support. If you haven't seen Whelm that just came out, you can go actually watch it on Prime Video and stream it. It'll also be in select theaters around the country, so may come to a place near you. But one of the things that he has said too is that he knows there are going to be people that hate his movie. And then there are going to be people that love his movie. His movie is not one of those that is for the masses, right? Think of a blockbuster. And we all love blockbusters. Nothing wrong with them. But they're also kind of tiring after a while. Like, how many superhero movies can you actually make, right? So he is willing to kind of stand on the, be, instead of just being in the middle, right? He is willing to kind of cross that line and say, and be bold in like what he's going to do. And he's not going to apologize for it. So if people hate it, okay, they hate it. And they love it, awesome, right? You're either going to be over here and over here. And he knew he had to be super bold in what it was he was going to do in order to move forward and not be apologizing for if something didn't make sense or if it was too complex or if you didn't like this part or whatever. Like, he was going to be grounded in his decisions and be unapologetic about that and be decisive. So when you are working in your business, you want to be confident and build upon and know who you are, be grounded and stand firm in that, and also be authentic to who you are and where you came from. People will always know that he is a good old Indiana boy and he is not going to try and be anybody else. And he is going to be proud of where he came from and proud of his family. I knew when I was in business, I used to feel bad and guilty about still being a teacher. I thought, well, that means I'm not a successful entrepreneur if I'm still working full time. And then I had to come to realize, like, I'm choosing to work full time. That is not a bad thing. Like, I want to teach, I want to do these things. And even if that is still something that is bringing an income and possibilities and options to my family. So I should be proud of that, not feel bad or hide or think that I am insignificant because I choose to still have a full-time job. So whatever choices you make the choice, be decisive, and stand firm and be unapologetic in who you've been created to be. Number 2, you ready? Drop 2 if you are ready for number 2. So number 2 is you want to be persistent in the pursuit of your dreams. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, I talk all the time about like operating from a place of rest, right? You don't want to be necessarily feeling like you're in this grind and hustle mentality all the time. But one of the things that Ed said to me, Ed Herrera, he's an incredible cinematographer, works with Skylar. And he said, people aren't just going to come to you. You have to go to them. You have to make your name known, right? So you can't wait. I think some people within our business, they want to wait for attraction marketing to kick in. And they just think all these people are going to come to their door. Or you get afraid to actually show up in someone's inbox because you've learned so much about attraction marketing or online marketing that you're afraid if you show up in someone's inbox, you're going to be spammy or feel bad about what you say. But again, that goes back to number 1, be unapologetic. But number 2, being persistent in what it is that you want and not waiting on people to just come to you all the time. Like, you have to take action in your business. You have to do things, right? Be the one that is diligent and that doesn't give up easily, because there are going to be days of discouragement. Okay. There are going to be no's. Like, Skylar has had no's and no's and no's. But he's had wins and successes along the way because he's stuck with it. So you want to stick with what you're doing. And I love the scripture. I wish I had it on me to say it exactly right. I know that I probably won't say the scripture, but what does it say? Jesus says, run the race with endurance, or Paul says this, run the race with endurance that has been marked out for you. Okay. And so I want you to do that. Like, if you have a vision on your heart, right, and in your mind, you can see beyond your reality now. You've got to stick with it. You've got to be persistent and be willing to, like I said, be willing to kind of go that extra mile or do the extra thing or build relationships with people, right? All of filmmaking is about networking and building relationships with other people. That's how you get your foot in the door. So you have to go to the people and start those conversations. So you want to do that in your business too. Start the conversation. Be a professional conversation starter. Go into those inboxes. Be genuine. Be genuine about wanting to truly connect and learn about people and what they have going on, but also be, again, stand in your authority, stand in who you are, knowing your credibility and the leadership abilities that you have, and knowing the opportunity and the service that you have before you, that you can show up and be a servant leader and truly help someone get results. Right? So don't be afraid about that. So don't just wait for attraction marketing to kick in while you're learning and implementing it. Like, still go to people, right? And still be that relationship builder. And when things get hard, right, there are going to be days where you don't feel like doing it, or you get a no, right? That discouragement can come. So we want to persevere, and we want to be, like I said, run the race with endurance, and do so with the mind of Christ and with the heart that is truly wanting to give and make a difference. And that's what really fuels Skylar and his team, is they truly want to give back. They truly want to make a difference in this industry. And so they have a purpose. They are leading with a mission and a message. And so that's what you want to do. You want to lead with your purpose and your mission and a message, and get into alignment. When you do that, you're going to be so on fire that you're going to just toss these darts along the side, okay? And they're going to come at you. You're going to have your little pity party, and you're going to move aside, and you're going to keep going for it. You're going to be focused on what God has for you and the assignment that is before you. And so, because it says alignment, I love this quote: alignment with God's will is necessary for our divine assignment. There will be trials that show, these trials that come your way will show your faith is genuine. This is from 1 Peter 1:7. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Though your faith is far more precious than mere gold, so when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. So that leads me to the third lesson learned, and something that the Lord has been teaching me and even revealed to me even more through being around these filmmakers, and that is belief. You need to have belief in who you are. It is incredible. That is something that inspires me so much, is how much belief Skylar has in himself. Like, and that's not saying, right, that you're being this cocky person, but it's that you're standing tall, right? Your shoulders are back, and you are going back to kind of number one. It kind of ties into that with being confident, but you have belief in who you are and what you're capable of, because we know God will equip you, right? And if you trust in him and you obey him and you are living faithfully for him and you are following and pursuing your divine assignment, he is going to give you what you need. And so you just have to believe it. Belief is the activator to being able to receive what we've asked him to give us. And so believing in who you are, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else, I'm sorry, like, I can believe in you, but that's not going to be enough for you. Right? So Skylar he's not going to be successful in this industry if he doesn't believe in himself. If he has to wait for someone else to tell him, hey, good job, right? Because 80% of this job, 90% probably of his job, is behind the scenes. No one sees. He works by himself almost all day long, every single day in his office. It's him, God, and the computer. And there's no one there be like, good job, Skylar, you're doing awesome, and affirming him. No, his affirmation, his confirmation comes from the Lord and comes from his belief in himself. And we are sons of God, so we know we can dwell in that Holy Spirit empowerment. We can co-create with the Lord. And so we need to believe in ourselves. And that has been something that has been hard for me. I still have wavered at times and doubted and like, can I really do this? But you guys, we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. Can't we? If we truly believe that. So belief, let me share with you a few things about belief, right? It says there's a gap, right? There's a gap. The zone of growth and transition and divine reinvention. This is from Marshawn Evans Daniels. And I love what she says about this, that this is where we must go to enter our promised land. The gap is your wilderness between Egypt, what you've known, and the promised land, what you've been praying for and are destined for. But in order to receive it, we must first believe and we must surrender. God doesn't leave our heart's desires behind us as he ushers us into our destiny. So that's going to also lead me into this little, my next one. That's kind of like a bonus, but if we want to really move into that realm, right? That next stage, that next level of faith, we have to believe first. Then we ask and then we receive. We want to have an open heart full of expectation of what the Lord has for us, right? And like I mentioned before, like when you partner with Christ, things get weird. He's going to ask you or tell you to do things that you're like, are you really? Are you really, God? But it is what, we can be obedient to that and trust in him, because that belief is the activator. It's a catalyst to what we can have. And so it's not putting that obligation on him, right? But it's having the expectancy for what the Lord is willing and wanting to give to us, these promises, this goodness. Goodness is flowing to you. Do you believe that? Drop goodness if you are believing that goodness is for you, that you have, that we want to be eagerly anticipating heaven's next move for us. Right? And so we have to live fully, and we have to live present, and we have to live in this undeniable supernatural belief in ourselves and what we're capable of and what God is capable of through us. So we hold on to what we can believe, not what we've seen or where we've been, because there are trials and there are things that can hold us back, right? Can make us go into unbelief because you're like, well, this didn't work out. It took me forever, right? Or it's not happening. I don't see it, right? We have to have that vision for what lies ahead, for what's to come. And be anchored in our belief and believe in the favor that you have. I love my mentor, Mary said, ask for and pray for favor, but believe it's already yours, right? The kingdom is yours. The promised land is yours if you just walk into it. The Israelites just didn't walk into it. They weren't obedient. They wanted to do things their own way. They didn't want to listen to the Lord. And so it took them forever to get in and enter the promised land. The Lord is like, here, it's yours. I'm here. I'm right here. Just trust in me. Grab onto me. Let me lead you. Let me do this. I just need you to be faithful. I just need you to be willing to walk and take action. So you've got to be willing to move and to take action in what you're doing. And then the last one, number 4, is don't be afraid of revision. Okay? This might be a little hint into Skylar's next movie, but don't be afraid of revision. Don't be afraid to pivot. The Lord has asked me, I have had to pivot so many different times in the way I was building my business and who I was working with. I recently had to transition from a business, but to a new business. And sometimes, like I said, going back to that gap, right? We have to go from where we were and who we were and transition into who we are meant to be and who we are called to be and to where, and in order to get where we're supposed to go, right? Sometimes we have to make those transitions and we have to be willing to pivot or revise. There are so many times, you guys, holy cow. I'm like, Skylar, I couldn't do it. He goes back over, he'll write a script. It takes about 9 months for him to write a script, typically. And it's because it's not just a one and done deal. You write it and then you reread it and you revise it. Then you read it again or write some more, read it again, revise it. Sometimes I've seen him scrap a whole script and decide he's not even going to use it. He's created an entire poster and marketing tools and things like that for his films. Completely done. Oh, they're not good enough. I'm got to make a new one. Or nope, this isn't the right anymore. I got to change it. He is constantly revising. He is constantly working on his craft and becoming better. And he is not going to settle for less. He is not going to settle for mediocre. And so I don't want you to settle. Do not settle for mediocrity. Do not settle for less than your best. Do not settle for less of what God, of what God has for you. Don't let yourself settle and become complacent with where you are. That's not good enough for you. You are meant for more. You are meant to have more. You're meant to create. You're meant to create with the Lord and to create kingdom impact. So do not settle with where you are and what you have. Don't be afraid to revise. Don't be afraid to just scrap something completely and be like, well, that wasn't it. Let's try again. Okay. And seek the Lord, right? Seek him and ask him, okay, Lord, what do you think about this? What should I do? Give me the words, Lord. Who do you want me to talk to today? Who do you want me to connect with today? Bring those people into my life. You know, I prayed fervently and specifically for who Skylar would work with, who would become his tribe of people. And do you know, I see it. Like it gives me chills and makes me want to cry because I'm like, Lord, you are amazing, because this industry is not easy and there are some shady people, and we know, right? Think of Hollywood, right? There are some things that you don't want to be around. I don't want my children to be around. And I want us to be able to maintain our integrity all through all of this. You should always maintain your integrity and know your values and be in alignment with your values and who you are. And God has allowed us, even though it's taken 5 years, seems like a really long time, right? And we're just getting started. Yeah, we would have loved to have things rocking and rolling like 3 years ago. Wouldn't that have been awesome, right? But I believe God also has a purpose and a reason for the timeline that he takes you on, right? And so we don't need to hold ourselves to a specific timeline to where we can become discouraged and want to give up, right? Again, going back to number 2, being persistent. But don't be afraid along the way to make moves, to make changes, to do things differently. And you've got to continually build on yourself and your character. Skylar was taking courses. He invested into mentorship. He invested into, doing trainings and things. He studied, he practiced, he learned, he grew, right? You got to invest in yourself. And the skill set is going to require for you to get where you're going. You cannot expect to be a leader. You cannot expect to recruit people if you are not yourself leading yourself first. If you are not investing into more skills, if you are not growing yourself personally, spiritually, mentally, physically, right? You want to lead by example. And so you've got to raise the bar. And that's what Skylar's doing in this industry. He is raising the bar. He's like, I'm up here and I'm not lowering myself for you. I am not going to lower myself to what everybody else thinks. I am up here and I'm setting the bar high, and I'm raising and rising to the expectations and what God has given me. I'm using those abilities and I'm using them to the best that I can. So take what you've been given already and elevate that, right? Explode that. And don't be afraid when things come along the way. Don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to change direction. Don't be afraid to just completely scrap something and start over or try again. Because we usually often are taught that, okay, you have a goal and you got to do this, and this like straight line, right? To get there. And if you miss something, then you're done. Like it's over. It's not true. When you're in a relationship and partnership with Christ, you're going to have your goal, your ideas, right? They're going to be over separated, right? From here's where you are, here's where you're meant to go, right? But even sometimes where you're meant to go can change too. Just like us being in the filmmaking industry now, and just like me being a passionate about entrepreneurship and knowing that I won't be a teacher forever. Where before I thought I was going to be a teacher till I was 80. And before, Skylar thought he was going to be a painter. So be open and willing to say, Lord, I am your vessel. Use me how you want me. Open doors that you want me to walk through. And then walk through it. Be a water walker. Walk through it. Take that next level action, that next level faith, and say, all right, here we go. Let's do it, right? And you're not going to know how it's going to happen. We have no idea. This filmmaking industry, I have no idea how, we do not know, right? The results have always been in the hands of the Lord. All we can do is be unapologetic, be confident, be authentic, be persistent in the pursuit of our God-sized dreams, have undeniable belief and faith, and to not be afraid to pivot and to break through those discouragements. Don't be afraid for revision. So I want to leave you with these thoughts. The life of Jesus is designed to show us how to live life in a realm where miracles freely flow. When we spend significant time in the presence of God, we can better experience his thoughts, peace, and leading. God is always leading you to a blessing or a breakthrough, but we cannot access what we don't believe. But God alone is writing your story. In fact, he wants to bless you at any given moment, and anything is possible for you. It's what he loves to do. So know that you are a magnet for miracles. Can be a vessel for his glory. And hopefully you'll take these lessons, commit them to mind and to your memory, and use them to walk forward obediently and faithfully and courageously and boldly into more of what God has for you. And I would love to hear your takeaways. I would love for you to share with us what it is you heard, what stood out to you from this. Please let us know. And if you have a lesson that you've learned, please share with us too. We want to know. And this is also, you can also find this message if you want to hear it again easily. Go over to our Rise to Your Purpose podcast. You can find it on find it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go download, subscribe to Rise to Your Purpose podcast. And please, we'd love to leave a review. We'll shout you out. And I'm just so grateful for you guys, and so grateful for just the outpouring of love and support through this whole journey that Skylar and I have been on for the last several years, and me transitioning to a different business. And I'm just so grateful. We at Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising love you. We have our purpose partner community, so make sure you are in there and a part of that. And like I said, if you would love to hear from Skylar personally, because I've been kind of putting a seed in his ear where I'm like, Skylar should really talk to people. Like, you have some amazing, he's just got these, he has a great way of articulating and inspiring. So if you'd like to hear from him, just drop yes, and I'll know what you mean. And I'll see if I can get him on here with me live one of these days. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day or evening, wherever you are at watching this. Love you. Bye. Rise to Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you.
You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into, and tag us at Live Victorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was, so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you.
To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.
In a recent episode, Natalie and I shared with you the difference between low-ticket and high-ticket network marketing options. In this episode, we want to dive in a little bit deeper with our upline and friend Michelle Tufford and share with you 2 different ways that you can actually leverage high-ticket income streams in the online space. Enjoy!